Hi everyone, we're looking at grouped frequency tables today, specifically getting averages and range from them. Okay, so grouped frequency tables. Now we looked previous to now at just regular frequency tables. The difference here is that these are grouped, and that means that the data data down this side is in little groups. So this is time taken for students to walk to school. Now if you imagine, say we asked, I don't know, for example 20 students, okay, how long it took them to walk to school, we'd probably get 20 completely unique answers. Okay, it might be 9 minutes, 11 minutes, 12.5 minutes. They'd all be different, and trying to do anything with that data it wouldn't be very helpful, okay, because we'd end up with just loads of individual points. Whereas if we put it into groups, we're going to be able to do something a little bit more useful with it. So here we've got time taken is between 0 and 10 minutes. Okay, it is less than or equal to 10 minutes. Just careful with that notation there. Here we are, we've got time is greater than 10 minutes or less than or equal to 20 minutes. So if you were exactly 10 minutes, you'd be in this category here, because this equals 10 minutes here. This one doesn't, it's anything bigger. So if your walk to school took 10 minutes 1 second, you'd be in here. Okay, and so on, all the way up to 50 minutes. Now we're going to look at the 4 different things that we're going to need to calculate this from this, and the first 2 I'm going to do are quite nice. We've got range, and as you've done before, it's the largest subtract the smallest, and it's no different here. So the largest value, which is 50, subtract the smallest, which is 0, which is 50 minutes. Don't forget your units. Okay, this is in minutes. Okay, so that's the first one. The next one is mode, and you'll often see this as modal class. Don't let that terminology panic you. It is just the proper way of saying mode. Okay, grammatically, mode doesn't work in this case. We're looking at the modal class. Now, be really careful, because a lot of people look down there and they go, oh, it's 9. And they write 9. It's not 9, okay? Be really careful. There's 9 people, that's the highest one, yeah. But here is the modal class. It's the group attached to the 9. So modal class is 10 is less than t, which is less than or equal to 20. Okay, that's our modal class. So it may be the fact that this is called a modal class rather than a mode might just be enough to prompt you to look over here for the actual mode. So you're still looking for the highest number in this list, and then we're writing down the group that's next to it. Now the next 2 are a little more fiddly, okay? I'm going to do median first. Now the median, what we'd normally do to find the median, we'd write all our numbers out in a nice line, smallest to biggest, and then what we've seen before is we kind of take one off each end until we get to the middle, okay, and that's our median, the middle number. That's not as easy here, but actually we can do something similar. What I'm going to do, I'm going to find the total frequency first of all, okay, so 9, 10, 17, 22, 24. So we've got 24 students all together. Now, if we want to find the exact halfway point of those, which is what we'd need to do for the median, we would use, there's a little formula here, okay, and we say it's n plus 1 divided by 2, where n is our total frequency. So what we're doing essentially is to find the middle part, we're taking the total, we're adding 1 to that. Okay, so we get 24 plus 1, and then we're halving it. It's a bit like finding a mean, really. So we get 25, 24 add 1, divided by 2, and that is 12.5. Okay, now, that isn't our median. Be really careful here, that's not our median, you're nearly there. That's part of the working out, but they're saying this is our 12.5th term in here, okay? So, here's one. Now, you might find it helpful to do like a cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency. Okay, you might find this to be quite useful. I'm just going to extend these out. And don't be afraid to extend these tables out if you need to. The questions and exams don't always do it for you, but I'm always drawing bits more on them to help me. Cumulative frequency is this is the total so far. Okay, so here the total is 1. Here we've got 1 add 9, so our total is actually now 10. Here we've got the 10 and we've got 7 more, so we've got a total of 17. Here we've got 17 plus this 5, which is 22, and 22 plus this 2, which is 24. And that's our total. Okay, perhaps pause and just take a minute to see what on earth I've done there, but we've done 1, which is the first one, and each time we've added the next one to it. Okay, and that's our cumulative frequency, and the reason that comes in helpful here is because we're looking, where does 12.5 sit in that list? Okay, well it's not here, okay, because that only goes up to 1, and just remember these are the numbers that they go up to. Okay, this goes up to 1, so that's not 12.5. This goes up to 10. That doesn't cover 12.5. This goes up to 17. That's where 12.5 is then, okay? Because it doesn't go in here, because that only goes up to 1. This only goes all the way up to 10, so we've not gone past 12.5 yet. We've not gone past it. But this is where we go past it on the way up to 17. It's between 10 and 17. So our median is this group here. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more examples of this. You'll get a bit more practice at that one. So the median is 20, and between 20 and 30 minutes, okay. Now the last one, the mean. Okay, this one's a little, not trickier, just a little more to do. Okay, it's a little fiddlier, that's all. So to find the mean, how we've always done it before, we've found the total of all of our numbers and divided by how many there are. And essentially that's what we're going to do here, okay. Just, the problem is, we don't know what the numbers are. Okay, there are 9 people who took between 10 and 20 minutes to get to school, but I mean they could have all taken 11 minutes, all of them. We don't know that. They could have all taken 20 minutes. There's a bit of a difference. So what we're going to do, we're going to extend this line even further. Okay, you're going to get used to adding all these little parts on here. I've just picked up a different colour so you can see it's different to what we've just done. And we're going to look at the midpoint. Okay, and that's what we're going to use to work with here. So the midpoint between 0 and 10 is 5. Okay, the midpoint between 10 and 20 is 15, so it's the number exactly halfway between them. 20 and 20, 30 is 25, 40 and, goodness me, 30 and 40 is 35, and 40 and 50 is 45. Okay, all I've done is taken the number that would be directly in the middle of these two here each time. That's our midpoint. And then your last step, and I wrote that title in a really bad place, is I'm just going to have to, I'll write the title for this one just below because we're not going to be able to see it otherwise. Okay, but normally I would have written it up here. It's going to be midpoint multiplied by frequency. Okay, now essentially what we're doing is saying, okay, there's one person who took between 0 and 10 minutes, we'll call it 5, and that's why any kind of question like this we call it an estimate. Okay, these are all estimates because we don't have the the original data. But we'll say, okay, we'll say they took about 5 minutes, and there was one of them, so we do 1 times 5 is 5. Next one down. Okay, there were 9 people who took between 10 and 20 minutes. We'll call it 15 minutes, okay, because then there might be some less, there might be some higher, there might not be, okay, that's why it's an estimate. But we'll call it 15 minutes. And there were 9 of them. Don't muddle up with this. Okay, 9 of them. Okay, so we've got 15 multiplied by 9. And I don't mind if you want to use calculators for these, I'm certainly going to. 135. Okay, next one down, we've got a midpoint of 25 and 7 people who, again an estimate here. We've got 25 multiplied by 7. Okay, which is 175. And then we've got 35, we're multiplying that one by 5. Okay, 35 times 5, we get 175 again. Nice, okay. And then the last one, 45 minutes, and we've got 2 people, that's 90. Okay, so that's our first step. And now we're going to add them up. Add up these totals. Because what that's going to tell us is the total distance walked. Okay, the total distance walked by all the students all together, and then what we can do is, like we would have usually done, divided it by how many students there are. So we're going to add these numbers up. So we've got 5, add 135, add 175, add 175, add 90, which is 580. Okay, so we've got 580 there, and we're going to now find for the mean. It's essentially total distance walked divided by frequency. Okay, how many people there were. And what we've done here, all of this working out here in the pink, that was to calculate the total distance walked, an estimate of the total distance walked, and we figured that to be 580. And the frequency, total frequency, the 24 students who did that. So if we split that 580 minutes evenly between 24 students, we get a mean of 24.2 once we've rounded it up. Okay, so 24.2 minutes once it's been rounded. Happy, to be quite honest, to round that to maybe 24 minutes. Okay, I think we're quite, happy to go to the nearest minute with that one. Okay, so that's one example. I have got two more of these. Make sure you're paying careful attention to this bit, because this is where I think you're going to get unstuck. I don't think you're going to have any issues with the range or the modal class. Okay, the median is fairly straightforward once you've kind of done it a couple of times. It's just remembering this bit. This is where you might go a bit wrong. Okay, so let's try another one. Right, time taken for students to complete their maths homework, and we're going to find those three averages in the range again. Now looking at this, I'd say it's a complete load of rubbish. If any of you took only 5 minutes to do your maths homework, I think you need to have another look at it, okay? That's very, very fast to do your maths homework, but there we go. We'll work with this data. So we'll go exactly as we were doing a minute ago. I'm going to be careful and leave all of this free this time to write in. Straight in there with the range. Okay, and that's the largest subtract the smallest, so 30 minus 5, which is 25 minutes. Okay, and modal class, which is the highest one on here. Okay, so here the highest number is 8, so our modal class is 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, that's the first two. Like I say, you should be fine with those two. And then we go on to the slightly trickier ones. So the median, this is the one where we're going to use the cumulative frequency. Okay, I'm just going to call that CF for now. Cumulative frequency. What have I done with my ruler? You know what, I think I've used it as a bookmark in my diary. I'm just going to, my best estimate, a nice straight line. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be our cumulative frequency, and remember that's just where we're seeing our running total. Okay, so we get 5, then 5 add 8, which is a 13, 13 add 6, 19, 19 add 4 is 23, 23 add 2 is 25. And that's very handy because that actually tells us our total as well. There were 25 students asked. Okay, when you get your final number here, we know that our total frequency is also 25. So remember how to do the median. It's n plus 1 divided by 2, where n is this number here, okay, the total number. So we get 25 plus 1 divided by 2, which is 26 over 2, which equals 13. And again, just be careful, don't stop working here. It's a 13th place. Okay, so we're going to look down here. This one sees us all the way up to number 5. Okay, and including 5, so that's not us. This one actually goes all the way up to and includes 13. So quite handily, the median is very much just in here. Okay, it's nearly fallen off the end of it, but it is just in this group here. 10, actually the same as the mode, which is interesting. 15, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I think this is the bit that's probably going to need a bit of practice, being able to count up here. It throws people a little bit, that one. Right then, I'm going to get another colour out now so I don't mix up my median with my mean. You can do the same. So the mean is going to be our total minutes divided by total students. Okay. Now again, we don't know what our minutes are going to be because, you know, these are estimates. This is between 5 and 10 minutes. So we're going to find our midpoint to be able to do that calculation. So midpoint, let's just stretch these along a little bit more. Oh, missed one. There we are, midpoint. So the number that is halfway between 5 and 10, that's 7.5. Between 10 and 15, 12.5, 15, 20, 17.5, and so on. 22.5, 27.5. Okay, so there's our midpoint, and that's what we're going to use to help us estimate here. And once we've done that, we can now go on and do our midpoint multiplied by our frequency. Okay, midpoint times frequency. And again, don't confuse your frequency with your cumulative frequency, okay? Because that'll not work out very well. Right then, so here we've got 7.5 times 5. Then use a calculator, that's not a problem. That's 37.5. Next one we've got 12.5 times 8. These all have to in one go, I think. 17.5 times 6. 22.5 times 4. And 27.5 times 2. And let's pop them on a calculator, so we get 12.5 times 8, which is, oh, of course it's 100. Because 12.5 times 2 is 25, and you double that, times that by 4. 17.5 times 6, 105. 2.5 times 4, 90. And 27.5. Oh, 7.5 times 2, 55. Okay, and then we're just going to work out the total of those, okay? So that's going to be our total number of minutes, isn't that total mins? Okay then, so we get 37.5, add 100, add 105, add 90, add 55, which is 387.5. Okay, so that's going to come down here. 387.5. We're going to divide it by the total number of students, which we've already worked out here. You could also add up these numbers to get it, you'd get the same thing. 25. So that divided by 25 is 15.5 minutes, which we're going to round up to 16 minutes. Okay, just round it up to the nearest whole number there. Okay, there's one more, and I'm just going to walk you through another one of these. I know that makes 3 of them, but I just want to make sure you've just got one more opportunity, and actually this time we're working with something that isn't minutes, okay? So just slightly different. I've not put the data in right, give me a second. There we go, that's better. Put the numbers in there, that makes it a bit easy, doesn't it? Right, and as I was writing them out, it made me think of something else I'd wanted to mention. Just note here how these groups are really consistent, okay? They're all of the same size, and they were for the others as well. Here we've got 4 centimetres in each of these, okay? And anytime you do need to make a grouped frequency table of your own, you need to do the same. You need to make sure that the groupings are really consistent in their size, okay? Right then, so let's go on and first of all range, mode, median. Okay, they're the first 3, they're the nicer ones. Range 164 minus 140. Okay, that's 24 centimetres. Okay, that's what we're working in. This is height of 30 students in a class. Mode, looking down here for the highest number, 8, so I've not written mode or class, here we are, so it's this class here, 148, 152, and the median. Okay, so we're going to do our cumulative frequency, just to help us with that. I'm going to extend these all the way this time, save us a job next time. Cumulative frequency help us kind of place it once we found out whereabouts we're going to be looking for. Okay then, so we've got 4, 9, 17, 24, 29 and 30. And it's quite reassuring because you are told there are 30 students in the class. So it's quite nice to know, yeah, something's working because we've got the right number here. Okay then, so we've got n plus 1 over 2, which is 30 plus 1 over 2, 31 over 2, which is 15.5th place. Okay, so we're all the way up to 4 here, all the way up to 9 here, all the way up to 17 here, and that covers 15. Okay, 15.5. So it's this class here, and it's 148 152. Okay, that language is quite important when you're doing this. Okay, you've got to think you're going everything from 0 up to 4 is in here, everything from 5 up to 9 is in here, everything from 10 up to 17 is in here, and so on. Okay, it's quite easy to get them the wrong way round if you're not really consciously thinking on that. Right then, next one. Mean. Let's just grab a different colour so it stands out a bit. The mean. Okay, do you know what? I'm not convinced that is the colour that's going to stand out, is it? It's a little bit pale, I think. There we are, that's a bit better. The mean. So here we've got total height in this situation. That's all the heights added together, divided by number of students. Okay, so to get our total height, again, we're going to be looking at that midpoint. Midpoint. Okay, so exactly halfway between these is 142, 146, 150, 154, 158, 162. Okay, so that's the middle of all of those. And then we're going to do midpoint multiplied by frequency. Okay, so we've got 142 times 4, 46 multiplied by 5, 150 multiplied by 8, 154 multiplied by 7, 158 multiplied by 5, and 162 multiplied by 1. Okay, let's calculate those, and then we're just going to get the sum of them at the end. Okay, so 142 times 4, 568. Got a very big number here, I think. 5, 730, 50 times 8, 1200, 154 multiplied by 7, 1078, 158 multiplied by 5, 790, and well, 162 multiplied by 1 is 162. Okay, let's add them up together. Total. So we get 568 plus 730 plus 1200 plus 1078 plus 790 plus 162. 4528 is our total number of centimetres. I suppose put that on there if you want to just remind yourself of the context. So 4528 divided by 30 students. Okay, also told that up there. Tells us that the mean is 150.9 centimetres, or if you wanted to go to kind of the nearest centimetre there, 151 centimetres. Now sometimes you would be kind of prompted in the question what number of decimals to go to, otherwise just go to something you know, sensible, and you could even just label like, you know, to nearest whole number if you wanted to make it really clear that you had rounded it. Okay, so hopefully you'll be okay with those. Now you've seen some examples, make sure you've got some notes of them, please, because this is the kind of thing that people do tend to forget over, you know, the couple of years between year 9 and, well, the start of GCSE in year 9 and GCSE actually getting done in year 11. Okay, so make sure you've got some good notes to look back on. Thank you.